broadcast. An amazing day has been so far, and it just continues. We've got John Seda joining us today here on the broadcast, and John is with us today. He is talking about all sorts of different things, but I do want to cover free music. Does it work? And John Seda is with us today, music industry insider and founder of Born a Musician. Dozens of sites are on the web that offer free music. Is that something that artists favor, and does it work to promote sales? We've got John Seda with us today. He's got 30 years of music industry experience. He's collaborated with Grammy winners, gold and platinum selling artists, and he's an international marketing executive. He's got a website, bornamusician.com. John, how are you doing on this fine afternoon?
I'm doing good, James. How about yourself?
Pretty good, actually. Talk to us a little bit about free music. Does it work? What are your thoughts on these websites that offer free music?
Well, I don't believe it works. First of all, the most important thing that an artist has is his intellectual property. So the moment he gives it away for free, he's only got one thing left, whether either to give some music lessons or perform live. Giving music away for free is like giving the most important part of you if you're an artist. This is what I feel. I think there's proper ways of doing it when it comes to file sharing. File sharing is something that I'm a big fan of because I work with different musicians all across the United States doing recording sessions. And I can send files back and forth, and that's great. We can upload them to certain sites and they can download them. Now, when it comes to a person putting their music on and putting a complete song, let's say the song lasts 3 minutes and they put the 3 minutes of the song, it doesn't give any incentive to the buyer to buy it because they know they can go back there and they know they can listen to it anytime they want to. So what I recommend to all artists and the people that have followed my lead on this are making sales is to put up 1 minute, put up 30 seconds, just like the movies do with their movie trailers. This way, they get an idea what the song sounds like. If you can't convince them in 1 minute, you need to go back to the drawing board and write a better song. This is how I feel. So it's enough time for somebody to understand if it's going to be a good song or not, or is something that they may like to purchase. So I definitely do not believe in free music at all.
We've got John Seda with us today, music industry insider and founder of Born a Musician. How does free music translate into sales, my friend?
It's 50% of nothing is nothing, right? So it doesn't translate. Okay, some people, there's this new trend that's going around that say that if they give away their music for free, people are going to go to their shows, right? I mean, I've heard this a lot. That's one of the excuses that many people make. And one of the things I have to say about that is that I don't think that's the reason somebody wants to go see you play a show. I believe somebody wants to see you play a show because either they heard about you, or they found out through a friend, or they saw you in a club and they want to go see you again. The part about giving away free music, there's actually a psychological study called reciprocity, where it says that if you give away free things to people that are not loved ones or people that are your family, people tend to not to reject it. They won't tell you, right to your face, but they might walk away and say, I don't really like this kind of music. Why did I get it for free? Or, wow, I gotta owe this guy a favor now, or I have to tell him that I like the song when maybe I don't. Or if I want to like the song and tell him, I should be able to do it on my own, right? So when a person, then there's this sales belief that, and this is that's psychologically studied that they've done several times during different decades, and they've always proven that free gifts are not the way to win people over, or sometimes people get alienated by that. So I believe that you're not going to ever convince everybody to like your music. Like everybody's not going to like everything. So you have to deal with a little bit of the rejection part because, when you sell, there's going to be people who are not going to want to buy it. But the fact is that the ones that do buy it are going to be your diehard fans. And that's what you have to focus on. And then when people tend to listen to it because a friend showed it, then you create a new fan. But I think giving it away doesn't prove that your music is good. doesn't really prove that that's the reason why the artist went to the concert to see you. Then we go back to another thing too. There's a lot of shows right now, especially in the rock scene, and I've heard this happens also in country, but I believe it happens more in rock than any other genre, is that there's all these venues now, and it started off in Los Angeles many years ago, but now it seems to be all over the world, where a lot of the rock bands are playing to perform. So then if you give away your music because they want to make them come to your show, and then you're paying for the show, that just sounds like a losing proposition to me, you know. And I've had actually been very fortunate doing other interviews in the past where people have, you know, come on the radio and said, you know, that is exactly what's happening to me, you know. So it's not something that only happens to a few, it's actually happening to many. And what's happening is it affects the pro musicians who are on the top, because once these venues feel that they don't have to pay or music should be free, then they look at everybody in the same way. And actually, a couple of years ago, Paul McCartney asked the president to do something about what's happening in music, because it was, you know, really bad for a lot of the artists to get work. Elton John talked about it also, voiced his opinion pretty loudly about it, very upset. So we're talking about now big artists that are complaining about it. Vince Gill came forward about it also. So Bon Jovi is mentioned. I just wanted to mention a few just so you know it's not just amateur musicians this is happening to. This is also happening on a pro level. So it's definitely something that really needs to be looked into. And I think what a lot of the young artists have to understand, a lot of the platforms that are being designed today, all the social media, the people who designed all these products actually designed them to make money. It was the tendency for many to do the easy thing, and the easy thing is to give away music for free. That's very easy to do, right? You don't have to ask, you don't get no rejection, you don't find out if somebody really likes your song or not, or they don't care to listen to it. You just give it and they just grab it, they look at you, they throw it in the back seat of your car. But I've asked this question to many musicians. Go back to that person you gave away that free music to, and everybody 90% of the time has agreed with me on this. And ask them, did you listen to it? And a lot of them say, 6 months go by, I never really got around to listening to your song. I'll get back to you. And the reason why that happens is what we talked about earlier, about this, having to owe somebody to give them an opinion about something, but at the same time, they never really asked for it, and they didn't pay for it. So they have nothing invested into it. And when you don't have anything invested into something, then there's not that love, for something. So I just have to disagree that free music works.
Well, we've got an amazing guest with us today. John Seda joins us. He's a music industry insider and founder of Born a Musician. What about music sharing sites? How do artists feel about these? It seems like every one of the brothers coming out against them.
You mean just sharing music back and forth?
Yes, indeed.
Well, like I said before, it's a useful tool. But when you come to the point where you start abusing that tool, and like I said, using it in the sense of trying to get gratification from it versus trying to sell it, then I think it's being misused. I think it's like anything else. If you drink too much water, it can be damaged, hurtful. If you do much of this, eat too much food, you get fat, I think if you do too much of one thing, it's not good. I think that it's definitely a powerful tool. It definitely, here's one thing I want to say about that too. We live in an era right now that we have a lot of tools that are accessible to us that make things a lot easier than they ever were before. Virtually, in many cases, you can use the word free, but you have to pay for the programs, or unless somebody gives you this program under the table, right? Which I don't approve of that either, because people have to live. But I believe that what it is that because there's so many of these different platforms out there, then they think that, well, it's easy, I can give it away, I've got my day job. And it's funny, musicians don't like to talk about business. That's what a lot of people say. And they say a lot of the genius musicians are not really cut out to do business. But with what's going on right now, I believe they have no other choice than to learn business, because a lot of this stuff happened because they didn't like the fact that the labels were making more money on their music than they were, and little by little, the tendency, we ended up where we are right now, right, with a different platform, whole different way of doing things, a whole different style, different lifestyle when it comes to music. So you have to adapt, and that's part of evolving, and part of the adapting process is you need to acquire some business skills. If it was a concern of so many musicians to be independent, then well, you got independence. Now deal with the other part of it. Deal with the business side that you never wanted to deal with. You need to learn that part. Now I think that musicians can make money. That's part of our mission statement on bornmusician.com. We believe in enhancing a musical economy, and by saying that, we want to create different ways for musicians to make money in the future. We're doing that right now. We don't take any of their sales. They get 100% of their royalties. We're actually promoting artists that are signing up right now. We're making little videos for them at no cost. So we are doing everything in our power. We're talking to manufacturers to come with brainstorming ideas. Like, for an example, if a manufacturer makes guitars, right? If he can find conceptual ideas that will help artists to make money, that's only going to benefit the manufacturer, right? Because I don't know about you, but I have never met a guitar player that has just one guitar. Most guitar players I know, they have two or three, and if they're on a professional level, forget it. They have a collection. So if the musicians are making money, and the music stores and the music manufacturers get behind the fact that they need to support this thing, it's only going to bring more money to them, and that's what we call enhancing a musical economy. We have to find better means for our artists to sustain themselves from the arts, because it's a job. It's not, they should not be making less or nothing than a dishwasher. This is entertainment. This is something that's talent. This is part of our culture. This is something we need to support. So I don't believe that any of those things about giving away music for free is ever going to help the artist. And the truth is, in the last 12 years, it's proven that it doesn't work. Because we came from $1 billion industry, and we're now from $4.5 billion, and we're down to 1.5. So we've had 12 years to see if this worked or not, and it hasn't worked. Now, music has sold more music as a whole, amateurs, professionals, semi-pros, all together, each one selling 2 songs each or 10 songs each, that type of thing. But as a business, as a thing to sustain themselves, it has not made the mark. And it still hasn't. We're still losing, we're still missing $3.2 billion that went somewhere, and it's not there anymore.
Well, John, I appreciate you making time for us today. Thanks for coming on with us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, James. I hope to see you again sometime.
Definitely. Have yourself a wonderful day. We'll talk soon, John.
All right, take care.
Appreciate it.
All right, bye-bye.